I'm Sarah Bivens.
And I'm Matthew Bivens.
We had a home birth back in 2016.
So we started a podcast about it.
And then grew it into a birth brand to help future and current parents believe in their success with home birth.
This is the place to hear home birth stories, along with helpful resources and tips to feel empowered and supported in your birth journey.
This is Doing It at Home. Welcome back to the Doing It at Home podcast. I am one of your hosts, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us, being here, hanging out. We've got some birth story goodness for you today. We're really excited to share that with you. Before we get into it, some reminders and updates for you. We have new merch in the Doing It at Home shop. New gear, new shirts, new onesies, new mugs. So go check that out. Go to our store. You can find a link to it from our main website, diahpodcast.com, or you can check out the direct link below in the show description of whatever podcast player you are using and listening with. And for your holiday orders, listen up. We have been informed through the companies that we use who deliver and supply our merch that December 8th is the day to get your orders in by to ensure delivery for Christmas and the holidays. So December 8th, make a note, mark it, put a reminder, all of the alarms, get your orders in by then so that you can gift the fellow birth nerd, birth junkie, home birth fanatic, even if that's you, in your life with mugs, t-shirts, tanks, sweatshirts, hoodies, tote bags, onesies, and really great gifts for the birth worker in your life, members of your birth team. And like I said, hashtag treat yourself. So again, December 8th is the date for those holiday orders for the Doing It at Home merch. Go check out the shop. And if you want to add another little stocking stuffer in there, our book, Doing It at Home, is available on Amazon in paperback and digital ebook format. So the link to that is in the show notes as well. So there you have it. All of the gifts and Merry. And we're getting into December soon, which is my birthday month. So fellow December babies out there, Sagittarius season. Is it Sagittarius's or Sagittarians? Sagittarian sounds like it makes more sense. But anyway, my fellow of that, it's our season, y'all. So yeah. All right, today's birth story. It's a repeat visit, if you will, of Amy Jo and JJ Mann. We had them back on the show a while ago telling their first birth story, and a link to that is in the show notes if you want to check out part 1 with them. And then here we're talking with them about their second home birth. And there's some really great topics in this conversation, like having a list of intentions for your home birth, language and culture barriers with birthing abroad, and the power of prayer, and also how fun birth can be. And we loved chatting with Amy Jo and JJ. They're so much fun. I know you're going to love hearing them again on the podcast. So quick word from our sponsor, and we will hear their story. Our friends at Seven Starling have an all-in-one support system to guide you from pregnancy and through postpartum, providing education and community, which from our perspective are essentials in this journey. When you sign up, you get matched with a dedicated doula and a hand-picked small group with similar due dates to yours. You meet virtually every other week to learn about everything from pregnancy symptoms to childbirth education, newborn care, feeding, sleeping, and more. You can also text and connect with your expert at any time outside of the scheduled calls. You can join Seven Starling as early as 8 weeks and continue through 1 year plus postpartum. All of this for just $37 a month, and with the option to cancel at any time. When you use the code DIAH15, you'll receive 15% off your entire duration of your membership. That means you'll receive all of this support and education for less than what the average person spends on coffee in a month. This would be a no-brainer for us when we were pregnant 5.5 years ago. We're so happy to see that this exists now. So go to sevenstarling.com and use the code DIAH for 15% off. Team Mann, welcome back to Doing It at Home. How are you guys?
We are wonderful. Glad to be back.
Oh, so excited.
Yeah.
And from across the globe.
Yeah. Where are you all right now?
We are in Leverkusen, Germany.
Leverkusen.
Close to Cologne.
Okay. And is this the same as last time we spoke, or have you moved around a bit?
We have moved around quite a bit since the last time.
Okay.
But this is our home now. So we've been here for over a year and a few months.
Yes, this is our first time staying in a same European location for more than a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's nice to have some familiarity.
Oh, I bet.
Sure. So I'm going to include a link in the show notes for those listening to our first conversation with you guys. And it actually was just me. Matthew, you weren't able to join that one. So if you want to refamiliarize yourself with this lovely couple and their family and their first birth story, highly suggest you do that. So if you want to hit pause, go listen to that, you can come back. But can you just refresh for us or reintroduce yourselves to the community and kind of let us know where you're at now in terms of life and family?
Sure. So I'm Amy Jo and my husband, JJ. Our first birth was back in actually Alabama, and she's almost 3 now, Brooklyn J. And then, so yeah, we live overseas, basically ever since, we're going on season 8 for him playing basketball. Been in a lot of different countries in Europe. I'm a social worker / mainly stay-at-home mom, but social work also. And anything else?
No, that's our quick synopsis.
Yeah.
All right. So
Love it.
Since the first time that we spoke, we've added another human to the mix. Tell us a little bit about that, and when you became pregnant, what were the plans or what were the conversations? Did you want to do some things the same, some things different?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I think from even before we got pregnant the second time, we knew we wanted to do a home birth. We knew that with our first birth, as you guys have heard, or previous listeners have heard from the both birth story, it's like we couldn't imagine, I think we said at the end of the podcast, even having a baby any other way. Like this is just how we want to have our children. It was where we're comfortable, and it was just, the best experience. So when we found out we were pregnant again, it was a no-brainer for us. It was, all right, mainly just deciding what country are we going to be in so we can figure out how the midwife situation works wherever we're going to be. That was kind of our big piece of the puzzle we had to figure out.
So where were you when you learned you were pregnant for the second time? What country were you in?
We were in Belgium.
Okay.
And we thought we were planning to be in Belgium for the birth. And then a couple months after we found out, some crazy things kind of went down with the team that we were on, and we ended up coming to Germany. And we were 4 months pregnant when we came here. So it was still early, enough time to find a midwife and not be.
Yeah,
we
started the midwife process in Belgium, and then got caught up in some shady European business, if you will. But we'll leave that to be for another podcast.
Okay.
Maybe part 3.
Yeah.
So then we had to come. Then we moved to Germany and kind of had to restart the process, different rules and laws and whatnot. But we found our Hebamme.
Yeah, they call midwives Hebames.
Oh, beautiful. So,
and
just from that experience, because what you just said there, you had to navigate a couple things, country hopping and shifting around some life things. For any who might be in a similar circumstance, like maybe they're finding out they're pregnant now, or through the course of their pregnancy and into birth, they might be in a different country or potentially different countries. Do you have any tips from your experience, or just anything that you learned as far as what was helpful in terms of finding care, communication, figuring out the laws or policies, anything that you could offer there?
What would you say?
The one thing we did talk about this morning was being very intentional with your questions. If you do have a consultation or meet up with somebody, ask them all your questions. Do not assume anything, because you're in different countries or even states or different ways of life, different midwifery school, whatever it might be. So just do not assume anything. Just be upfront and open and honest. And if you don't like the answer or the response, then that's probably not who you're supposed to birth with.
Yeah, there are multiple midwives in each country. There's not just the one that you have to go with the first person you meet with, which is kind of, I think, we knew that, but in my mind, it was kind of, well, it's going to be hard to find someone in Germany who speaks enough English for us to kind of connect with or get on the same page about stuff.
Yeah.
Which we did interview a couple. So there are options, no matter if you're in a foreign country or not.
Did you find it was the case? Sorry, go ahead, JJ.
No, so there is somebody that God has out there that's supposed to be on your birth team. So, and you have time. I mean, we were 4 months in or something. I mean, you still have 4 or 5 months. So, I mean, even if you're 6, 7 months in, I mean, maybe we're crazy, but you got plenty of time to find somebody who will. Yeah. And you would want to be with somebody who's like, yeah, you're 7 months, no problem. We'll make it happen. So you have time.
Did you all find that it was challenging with any language barriers or cultural barriers in identifying your midwife?
For sure.
Yes. Our midwife told us that all pregnant women
all birthing women make the same sounds. Yeah. And she told us that through like Google Translator. Oh. So she spoke a little bit of English. And it got better as time went on through each of the times that we met. But we predominantly use Google Translate in most of our appointments.
Wow. That's fascinating.
And the first girl that we met with was younger and she spoke great English. And like you would have thought that it would have been like this perfect fit, but it just wasn't. And so we kept looking and we found this older Habame who's, I don't know, I won't say an age, older. And I mean, she was great. Even though she didn't speak English, like we just knew it was going to work. So yeah, you can use Google Translate through birth also in preparation.
Well, I like that you mentioned, you didn't just go with what you thought on the surface would be easier. Okay, so she'll be able to understand you language-wise easier, but that might not be the best fit. So, there is verbal language, but then there's energetic language. And so clearly there was something that connected with you, who actually became your midwife more. And so I think that's awesome that you listened to that and you leaned into that.
I think that's very, very important for home births. You have to trust your instincts and make sure you're on the same page and
you're comfortable with who's going to be in the room with you.
Mm-hmm. So who was going to be in the room with you when you were thinking about the room?
Us and our Habame. Mm-hmm. And that was really the plan. Okay. And then potentially my mom, depending on if she could get to Germany or not. Okay. Based on travel restrictions. So maybe my mom would even be there, maybe she wouldn't. Okay. It's kind of just up in the air.
Gotcha.
And then Brooklyn, our oldest daughter, was a wild card.
Right. Yeah. So did you have...
she would just be asleep.
Yeah. Did you have conversations about that? Like what if she wasn't asleep and, being in a different place? Like what was the childcare situation?
We had lots of friendly neighbors and stuff who offered their help and stuff. That's and nice. We have the best neighbors and everything, but our plan the whole time was just going to be, we're just going to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. If she's awake, then she'll be part of it. If she wants to be, and if she's asleep, then perfect. And that was kind of one of the things we prayed for, is that birth would happen while she was asleep and she'd wake up to a new sibling. Yeah. So, and it would it would all be super smooth.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So
yeah. It did.
So aside from being in a different country, what were some of the similarities and differences in your second pregnancy versus your first pregnancy?
Ooh, I think it was all kind of really similar. I've been very, very blessed to have 2 easy pregnancies without any complications. I'm trying to think.
I mean, you were working.
Oh, yeah, I was.
During this one?
Mm-hmm, during this one in the summer when he has a break from basketball, I was working at in Belgium. We were still in Belgium during that stint with an organization that helps women who are trafficked. And so I was traveling often while being pregnant, which wasn't the case with Brooklyn, but that was still, it was all great and really, I guess I'd say easy. Mm-hmm.
Was there anything from the first pregnancy that you learned, tips like, maybe I'll enjoy this food or maybe this type of exercise, that you then applied to the second pregnancy?
For sure. I mean, one main thing during both pregnancies was very honestly listening to you guys' podcast. I just love birth stories when you're pregnant and just hearing encouraging, people sharing about their experiences of birth in a positive light, no matter if it's at home or they had a transfer. It's encouraging to hear that when you're hearing a baby and dreaming about what this birth could be like.
Yeah.
So definitely listening to positive birth stories and yes, exercise, but there's just a lot of walking, trains and walking to and from where I was working at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think she did a great job both pregnancies with just being consistent with her exercise.
Yeah, I just want to stay healthy.
You know, even if it was a rough day, just even do a little something.
Well, and Brooklyn would do yoga with me. So when I got later in pregnancy, she would always want to do yoga with mommy. So she's got like 5 yoga moves that she loves and just does them randomly. So that was really fun, sweet to get to do together too.
Oh, that's great.
And what about with you, JJ? You know, you went through baby number 1, pregnancy number 1. You got that experience under your belt.
And 1 championship.
Yeah, 1 championship. So did you feel different going into the second pregnancy? If so, how?
It was different because there's another baby or little child in the house. So I would try to do some things here and there to maybe take Brooklyn out or let Amy Jo have some time to herself to work out or to have some quiet podcast or some quiet time, or just a little time to herself to focus and get in the zone. But no, I mean, I think for a husband, you should just support and do whatever, support and serve your wife however she needs it. And that's different for every marriage and couple. So whatever little things that your wife wants and needs, just do them, even if she doesn't ask.
That's awesome. Yeah, love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So as we got closer to the end of your pregnancy, what was going on? How were you feeling? And then when did things kind of kick off?
Man, as it got closer, we were trying to kind of navigate around his basketball schedule, which you can't really plan stuff with a home birth, and his schedule's, he can't really miss games. It's kind of a big deal to be at them. But luckily he had or still has a very supportive and awesome team and coach who understood, like, hey, if your wife goes into labor, just let us know. Or, I was taking my phone, putting on loud at practice. And we had a road game like 3 hours away when she was exactly 40 weeks, I think. And coach was like, yeah, you don't have to come if you want. I was like, no, I'll come, but I'm going to take my own car in case get a call on the way or I can leave. And, in Germany got the Autobahn, so it can get home pretty quick.
Nice.
Yeah, that was definitely, I think, probably one of the worst games I've ever played because I wasn't really interested in basketball when you have your wife at home. Yeah.
And my mom was not here yet at that point, right?
Okay.
I don't think so. There. Yeah, so just me and Brooklyn. So went to labor. I guess, we were hoping to have our midwife there. So,
but like I said, coach was super cool and supportive, which helped a lot. But then we were trying to figure out the plan.
As it got closer, I felt great. I continue to have. I wouldn't have ever called them Braxton Hicks, but I just could feel like my body was preparing for labor, but it wasn't ever like, okay, this is it. It just, I could tell that I was getting ready. With our first little girl, go ahead.
No, well, we actually thought the baby was going to come New Year's Day. No, January 2nd, because the year before, exactly a year to the date, we were in Ireland on a little holiday, I guess. And we were not pregnant yet, but we bought some pajamas, baby pajamas, and for the hopefully future baby, and we prayed over them, and then we remembered that we bought them on January 2nd. So we're like, oh, how cool of a God story would that be if exactly a year later?
Baby's coming on that same day.
Yeah.
So that's what we had in our mind.
Yeah, so she had like a little action going on around
leading up
Christmas
to
and stuff. I was like, okay, it was January 2nd for sure the day. Like, adding up perfect. It makes total sense. But took another 19 days. So
not even close.
We were a little anxious, actually.
Yeah.
So
we set ourselves up for failure a little bit. We got
too excited.
Okay.
In a good way, but a little too excited. And so then at 40 weeks, the German law is you have to see your midwife every 2 days.
Okay.
Once you hit 40 weeks, every 2 days, you have to check your blood pressure and
Mm-hmm.
make sure everything's okay, basically.
And then are there any sort of restrictions or policies if you go past like 42 or once you're in that range, do then you have to transfer care or anything like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to meet your Hebame every 2 days. And then at 41 weeks, you have to go to an OB to have a scan just to see, make sure there's enough amniotic fluid and the placenta, make sure your baby's in a good position. So if you don't do 41 weeks or if you don't go do the scan, then you aren't allowed to have a home birth. You have to go to the hospital. So that also was a challenge.
Tell them what the wind doctor said.
Yeah. So our midwife was trying to call to get us in to see somebody who would just do a scan, just need an ultrasound. And she called while we were in the office to a few different places and kept making faces like, what's going on? And then she told me that one of the OBs she spoke with said that this girl, she didn't need me for the past 40 weeks of her pregnancy, so she doesn't need me now. Like,
wow.
we learned over the time, like we thought that home birth in Germany was a lot more common than I guess it is.
Okay.
I guess it's 1% births here. We thought it was a lot more than that because in Belgium and Holland, it's a lot more common, especially in Holland. But here it's not. So her trying to find a doctor that would just do an ultrasound for us was not easy. They were all saying no. And then finally she did find one in Cologne. 2 ladies who were willing to do an ultrasound for us just to make sure everything was fine. And so that was...
Yeah, they were great. They were fun.
Mm-hmm.
And, they actually said, you might not even be 41.
Like the guest date or due date could have been off.
Might be a week or 10 days off. And she's like, and it's just like, how many times does that affect people's decision if a doctor tells you you're a week over when actually you're a week under? Terminology. But so, they were very, very nice. And that was a good experience.
Are we ready to get in birth story?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for
Ready.
it.
So the technical guest date was January 11th.
Okay.
And then my mom luckily got into the country on January the 14th, which was a whole ordeal in itself because of Corona. And
there's an underground tunnel that I dug and
to get her there.
Really long time. So our midwife was convinced that your mother's coming on the 14th. Your body's just waiting till then. She'll be here. The baby, we didn't know the gender of our baby, that the baby would be here on the 15th. You'll be comfortable. Everything's great. It's like, that sounds great to me. But no, my mom got here. I did acupuncture, which I didn't do with the first pregnancy. Did that a couple times because our midwife offered it. And it was just, I felt great. Baby was great, but there's just no action. Not any of like, all right, this is really going to happen. So we get to 41 weeks and we had to go do the scan like we mentioned. And our midwife, everything was fine. Baby's head was super low. Like we were great. And our midwife asked if we wanted to do a cervical check or a membrane sweep. And I didn't really want to. So I'm trying to think what happened next. And we were getting close to 42 weeks. And with Brooklyn, we went to 41 and 4. And so like the closer we got to that, it would be more inclined to have to do a membrane sweep or something. So we were trying all the home induction methods, which you guys, I'm sure, have heard a lot of times how either they work or they don't. Most often they don't. But it got to, we were 41 and 2 and we decided let's just try everything all in one night, which maybe not the best idea. So we went and got Indian food and that was, great. Indian food in Germany. Interesting to try to find that.
Yeah.
Never really sure what we were going to get.
Never have ever had Indian food in our lives, but we
went for
drank that Kool-Aid.
Is that supposed to be an adult, like a way
Spicy food.
Oh, spicy food. Okay.
Food. Yeah, what a time to try it. Like, why not? Might have a baby in the next 24 hours.
We were willing to do
Let's
anything.
do this. Curry on.
Curry on.
Well, tell what your mom said.
Oh my goodness. So we all got spicy dishes, or at least
me and her mom got spicy dishes. She got.
My mom took a bite of hers and started like choking because it was so hot. And I was like, oh, I might go into labor because of this food. I was like, Mom. So, but mine wasn't that hot. And my mom and JJ were commenting how nothing was going to happen for me because did I even get Indian food?
Oh, yeah. There wasn't any spice in it.
I'm not trying to like smoke this baby out of me. I don't want to have a stomach ache, you know?
That's funny.
So we did Indian food. We were playing Rummikub and we did face masks. And we also had decided that because with Brooklyn, I feel like I mentioned it in our podcast, that I took like a tablespoon of castor oil. Mm-hmm. I did because our midwife suggested it was an option. So I actually texted our OG midwife from Alabama that day and was like, hey, what do you think about the midwife brew? Because this baby seems super comfortable and we're getting close to a timeline here in Germany to where at 42 weeks, you have to birth in the hospital. You can't go beyond.
Okay.
And they keep very close track of who's pregnant and, you know, you have your little pregnancy book. And so it would not have been allowed for me to go past. And our midwife from back home was like, yeah, if baby's in a good position and what are the other things she asked? I mean, she kind of just did like the basic checks. Is baby in a good position? How are you feeling? How past are you? Just some general things. I was like, no, everything's great. Baby's super low. Like, I'm ready to go. And so she's like, if baby's ready, then, I mean, there's no harm in doing it. Baby will come. And she, said the same thing, like take it at night so it can work overnight or early in the morning so that you can labor during the day, but don't take it in the afternoon because you don't want to have to labor through the night when you're most tired.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'll just take it after the Indian food. What a great idea. So, and I just took a tablespoon, which castor oil is not great, but I took it with some 7-Up and,
I took it with orange juice and they chased it with 7-Up.
Oh, that's true. Took it with orange juice mixed up and then chased it with 7-Up for the carbonation to kind of get it to go away, which I don't know if I recommend because 7-Up makes you burp. And then, you're tasting Indian food and castor oil. It's not a great mix.
Worst burp I've ever smelled in my life. Cleared the room.
So that was that night and everything felt normal. We went, like I said, we went to bed, we played a game, Rummikub. My mom won. Unfortunately, we were not the winners. And went to bed. It was a normal, great night. And I woke up at midnight and thought, I'll just have to go to the restroom. I mean, I didn't have any contractions or belly hugs or I just went to the restroom, got back in bed, went back to sleep. Woke up again at 3 a.m. Same things like, oh, well, just need to go to the restroom. Got back in bed, went right back to sleep. And then at 6 a.m. I woke up and I was like, gosh, and I thought I just wanted something to be happening. I think that's why I kept waking up. Mm-hmm. So then at 6, I woke up again and I was like, well, I'll just try to go to the bathroom again. Maybe something will happen. And so I didn't need to go to the restroom. So I was like, well, I'm kind of feeling something. I guess I'll just go turn on some worship music and just kind of see how things go. So I went to the living room, turned on some worship music and got on hands and fours and was just kind of listening to music. And I was reading a devotion and thought, well, maybe I'll just kind of time what I'm feeling because it's nothing super strong, but I'll just time it. Maybe something's going on. So I started timing it and it was this little contraction timer app. And after the first 2, it says, pack your hospital bag. I'm like, this is a joke. I'm glad we're not going to the hospital. And then 10, 15 minutes later, it's you should be on your way to the hospiel now. Stop the timer, go to the hospital. And I'm like,
wow.
Check.
This is, yeah.
Remove notification.
And so I felt great. The song, which I just kept playing the same song on repeat. It's called Remember by Maverick City Music. It's a great one. So I was just listening to it. And then I thought, well, I think I kind of need to use the restroom again or just try to go pee. So I did. And there was a little bit of bloody show. And I was like, oh, yes, this is going to happen. Because I was just waiting for when I could go tell JJ, hey, we're going to have a baby today. That's just really what I wanted to go tell him. So he's asleep. That happens. I go wake him up. It's 6:40, 6:50. And I'm just, hey, we're having a baby today. Get excited with me. And so as I tell him that, he's just laying there and just says, it's a great day to have a baby. And then rolls over. And I'm like, I need you to get up. I think we're going to, I don't know. I need something.
Well, I figure we got 5-6 hours before baby's coming,
Mm-hmm.
but
That's too funny.
Yeah. So
I was wrong.
You were. So an hour after that, I felt like another wave coming, and this one was much stronger. But nothing like, that's what was so confusing. Like nothing like really hurt. And we had been praying for like just a supernatural childbirth, that it would be pain-free, but we didn't even know what that looked like. But like, let's pray for it, because that would be, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
So I went to the bathroom and I sat down on the toilet, and I was, sitting backwards, like, okay, maybe like this kind of will help, or for the next one. And right when I sat down, like I just felt like the baby shift. And so I stood up, I was like, oh, whoa. And then my water broke, which didn't happen with the first one with Brooklyn. And it wasn't a whole lot, just a little bit, or enough for me to know. And so I hear JJ like wrestling around doing something, which what were you doing at that time? Do you remember?
I remember I was trying to get all the towels and candles and all the stuff that we had talked about doing, and the little surprises I had for her. But also there's a big, like a, not saran wrap.
Oh, like a plastic.
Oh yeah, plastic tarp.
Yeah.
To put all over, but that thing absolutely destroyed me, and I couldn't get it unfolded or anything.
You had a debacle like that too, Bivin.
I'm just trying to get it on the bed or get it in the area.
But you were in a hurry. You were taking your time, right?
But then I'm stepping on it and tripping over it myself, and then
I actually have a picture of what he had done with this like plastic tarp it's a really great picture. It's like halfway, not even unraveled, just like in a ball hanging off of the bed. It's not anywhere spread out on anything, which we didn't know where we were going to birth. Like we hadn't really talked about it, or we had, but we didn't get a birth pool this time. The bathtub was too small. So just we were just going to fill it out, like kind of where we went to labor, however it happened would be great. So we didn't have anything set up beforehand. That's kind of, I think, why it was a little helter-skelter.
Yes.
So I guess you were going to birth halfway off the bed, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have not been a safe place to have a baby where it was set up.
Oh my gosh.
You can't have a baby anywhere.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so you came and asked me, because I said, hey, I think my water broke. And you're like, well, should we text the midwife? Like, I guess so. And so he hands me the phone to text. Can I say her name? Is that fine to say her name? I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Dagmar.
Okay.
Great name. We text Dagmar that
we didn't figure out her name till like the 12th appointment, probably.
Oh gosh, yes.
We didn't learn it.
Well,
but that's
it was a language barrier. Like we couldn't really understand what she said, and I didn't want to repeat to her a name that wasn't her name, and so it took a little while, but we got it down.
Okay, all the quirks of figuring out home birth midwifery care in another country. Someone can relate to that right now. So
yeah, it's a journey, and there's great stories from it though.
Oh yeah,
she's funny. So he brings me my phone to text her, and I start to, and I'm still staying up at this point. Another wave comes. I'm like, you need to take the phone, and I need to get on my hands and knees. Like I just kind of knew. And so I gave him the phone, and it's so funny to look back at the text that he sent to her, because he typed to her what I was saying to him, like what I'm trying to tell him. And so like I try to feel to make sure the baby's not coming out right now, because I thought that the baby was, we didn't know it was a girl. And I could definitely feel like her head. And so I got on my hands and knees, and I tell JJ, I can feel my body pushing. And so he types that to Dagmar, and like, she hasn't responded, like looking back at the message. This is at 7:13. We texted her at 7:13. Hey, we think there's some action. Could you maybe head this way? And then at 7:14, he texted her, I can feel my body pushing. And then like another one, I don't remember what the next one said. Just all these like little funny things that I'm telling him that I didn't mean to be sent to Dagmar, but I guess it didn't matter. So as this is happening, I'm on my hands and knees, and I'm in the bathroom, and like I'm going backwards down our little narrow hallway, because our room is the next room on our right. It's like I'm crawling backwards into our room, and I still have my hand like trying to make sure the baby's like come out as I'm crawling backwards. And so I get to the floor in our room, and it's a hardwood floor, like we didn't have anything down on it. And so JJ's trying to like find something to throw down so that my niece can be on it at least. And I'm telling him, like, are you there? Like, are you there? I think the baby's about to come out. Like, are you there to catch? And so he's like, yeah, I'm here. You're fine. And so like when he said that, and I wasn't pushing, like I could feel like the baby's head just come out. And so, and as the baby's head is coming out, and you can tell your side of it too, he's telling me, I see the top of the head. I see, there's the ears. There are eyes. Or there's its eyes, and there's a nose. Oh, how cute. There's a mouth. Like I'm doing this play-by-play as I'm on my hands and knees of the baby coming out. And then like, there was just this pause. Like I felt great. I knew the baby's head was out, and I told him, I was like, all right, the rest of the baby's gonna come out with the next push. Because as you can probably tell, our midwife was not there. We texted her 5 minutes before.
Wow.
And so I'm trying to think. Yeah, so there was a pause, and then
You just said the next
yeah,
baby's coming out.
and I said
Baby's about to come out next.
the next contraction, the rest of the baby will come out.
I was like, I'm right here. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Go for it.
And so the next wave came, and I really didn't push back. I could just feel there came the rest of the baby, and it was like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, what just happened? You have your side of that little moment right there.
The baby came out pretty fast. Shot out there.
Sounds like
pretty good for you not pushing him. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was just beautiful. She was like, "Hey, are you ready? Are you there?" I said, "Of course, I'm ready. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go. You can do this." And yeah, it was beautiful. That same song was still playing in the background, and so yeah. Next thing you know, there was a beautiful little baby there.
Yeah, you got the baby, and I wanted him to hand the baby to me through my legs, like because I was ready to hold the little new baby. And she was crying. I mean, everything that we had prayed for has happened. Like she was super alert and was crying, and like there was no cause for any type of emergency or anything like that. But he couldn't hand her to me because the cord was too short. It's like as I'm like trying to like figure out how to turn around, I see my mom is standing in the door in like her pink llama pajamas. I'm like, oh, hi, Mom.
Oh, wow. So she was sleeping this whole time.
She woke up.
She said she woke up maybe like 7:10.
Yeah, just a few minutes before. She's like, I could hear you guys like moving around.
Oh,
So she thought she would get up. But like she thought she was going to have time for breakfast. You thought you were going to have time for breakfast. Or weren't you like eating yogurt or something for half a second?
Yeah, I was trying to fuel up a little bit. Go back
An
and forth, get some
athlete,
bites.
baby Joe.
But-
He had to get in the
I mean,
fuel.
That's why the plastic tarp was halfway on the bed because he was worried about his breakfast instead of setting anything up.
Priorities.
Day.
And you wanted to get your birth shirt on.
I get my shirt on.
He was sad he didn't have time to get his birth shirt on because it was in. It wasn't.
It was in Brooklyn's room.
Yeah, it was in Brooklyn's room. That's right.
Oh, wow.
So JJ's always about having a birth outfit
Uh-huh.
for whatever reason. Last time it was his swim shorts because we were going to hopefully do a water birth. This time he bought this shirt a week before. You read it, JJ?
Oh, I love
I'm
it.
a dad and a doctor. I can fix anything.
I love it.
So
So,
he's not actually a doctor.
but I have my PhD in baby catching.
That's
Hey.
awesome.
It's the one that
So
matters for this
That should
conversation.
stir up some fun in the medical world.
So your
Gets
mom
lots
is
of questions.
so your mom walks over and she's standing there and she's seeing a baby.
Yeah, she
Yes.
walked right in.
Yeah, and when she was told
Crazy.
me to hand her the baby through her legs, I'm like, I mean, the baby's slimy. I'm like, I'm just trying not to drop this thing. Like, I don't think us trying to do some fancy underleg maneuver right now is the best parenting decision. So her mom kind of stepped in
Mom helped me like
and
get turned around.
turned her around
Mhm.
and got some pillows and got her comfortable. And then
Yeah, he handed the little baby to me, and I'm just got our sweet little baby on my chest, and I'm like, we're looking at each other just in amazement.
Yeah.
Wow.
What just happened? Like, our baby like, is already here.
Mhm.
And
so yeah, 7:27 is what our guesstimate was.
yeah.
And
for when she was born.
so yeah, we're just laying there holding the baby, praising God, and then we kind of look at each other. It had been a few minutes, and we're like, we don't know what the gender is
Oh,
because
Wow.
I didn't see when the baby came out.
Mhm.
I mean, even if I was looking, I wouldn't have been able to figure it out. But So then we did the little, like on 3, like a little Lion King lift up.
Yeah, lift her off with me.
And it was a beautiful, sweet little girl.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was super, super sweet. And like right after that, I mean, my placenta just came out, which is something else we prayed for there to not be like any complications. It would be easy.
Yeah, I don't even think you pushed for that.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Just kind of had to play a little dodge the placenta. Just kind of rolled out of there.
I don't think you were dodging it.
I just it was sliding at me.
I don't believe that. He's exaggerating a little bit, I think.
Not that much. So yeah, and the midwife texted like at 7:30, said, "Hey, how are the contractions? How are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, the baby's here. You should come over." And so she came over like 30, 40 minutes later.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she got there around 8:10 or something. And she just walked in and said, "Y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy."
Yeah.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
that's the best English she's spoken since we've known her.
Oh, wow. And you learned the y'all from you, I'm sure.
Yeah. She did.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So she came in. Looked at me. She's like, "Everything's fine." I said, "Yeah, everything's fine." Like, we had built a connection. She trusted like that, she could ask that. And if something had gone on or anything of that sort, we would tell her.
And another thing we prayed for, we actually have the list of 9 things that we like really intentionally prayed for. And 8 out of the 9 happened, which is pretty awesome.
Wow.
But we did kind of want to do the birth just us 2.
Yeah. And we mentioned that to her.
But it's impossible time to be like, we wanted to have the baby, and then the midwife walked through the door.
Yeah, right away.
But that's impossible to time, or just be like, "Hey, wait outside."
Yeah.
Like,
hey, we're gonna, because we like either here, I wanted to catch the baby, and she would have been fine with that. But we're like, well, how cool would it be if she just came in the door as the baby's being born, and she comes 30 minutes after, very unintentionally.
Yeah. So that was fun, or it was cool, or we enjoy that part of the story now.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. So you said there were 9 things. Do you happen to have that list of 9 handy? Would you be open to sharing that?
I got it, so we would look at it. Or before, we had a pain-free labor and birth for it to be supernatural, a quick labor full of joy and laughter, and we were for sure laughing, and it was super joyful. No tearing, which I did tear. That was one thing that happened, but it wasn't a big deal. A healthy, alert baby, a simple birth of the placenta, and I have on here birth before the midwife arrives.
Wow.
Just like, that would be kind of cool if that happened. And yeah, we weren't not trying to call her. It happened so quick. Like, yeah. I have minimal blood loss, and then JJ to have full confidence in himself and peace, and then birth while Brooklyn is asleep.
Wow.
And Brooklyn woke up at what?
7:40.
Yeah.
She usually was waking up like 7:15. So
She's been right when
She waited a little
that
bit.
was another answered prayer for her to sleep in, and she knew something.
my mom went and got her, or just kind of kept her out there playing for a little bit until I got into the bed, and everything was kind of cleaned up off the floor. And Mom told us afterwards, she's like, Brooklyn definitely knew that something happened. Like, she was looking for you guys. She kind of knew something was going on, like in the house. Like, I'm sure she could just sense it. And so when you brought her in,
yeah, it was really the sweetest hug she's ever given me so far. And she just, she was holding tight to me, and then said, "Here's little baby sister."
And she got right in the bed and was just like looking, trying to kiss her little head. It was
very, very sweet.
Yeah, she was really excited.
That was a fun moment for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
What's the name that we added to the Mann roster?
We have Leona as her first name, and then her middle name is Lev, which means heart, but also for Leverkusen. That's where she was born. And Mann. So Leona Lev Mann.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we have a glass closet
mirror.
Mirror, yeah. And we wrote out a bunch of different ways of how to write the name.
How to spell Leona.
Had a few different. We were going back and forth, so we combined both of our favorite versions. So Leona, Lev, Mann. So it should help her with her alphabet. So
all the vowels in it except for you.
Yeah, Lev, and then Leona is lioness. So heart also has a little heart of a lioness going on there.
Mm.
And tell them about the sunshine.
Oh yeah, gosh. Well, Germany is pretty rainy and just very cloudy in the winter, and it had been super cloudy, zero sunshine for I don't know how many weeks leading up. And that morning after she was born, I mean, she was born at 7:27, like 8:00. There's so bright sunshine outside. So our midwife was like, she brought the sunshine.
Of
course she did.
Even once I texted my team and stuff, and a couple of guys were like, your little girl brought the sunshine today.
Yeah.
Because they even realized how gloomy it had been. So that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Wow.
It was amazing. And the one last funny comment from our midwife afterwards that we didn't, but when you asked her if I was okay.
And she said?
She told it to you. So I tore a little bit. Yeah. And JJ, she was about to come do the stitches. And JJ asked her outside of the room, like how bad is it? Like, is she okay? Kind of deal. You don't remember what she said?
Not specifically. Something about steaks.
She said, because she doesn't speak much English here. Her mind is when she's thinking of like grades. She said, well, like steak, like easy, like rare, medium, and like well done or something. Like first, I like 1, 2, or 3 kind of was in her mind. Medium. Yeah. So was like, you're a medium steak? Like what?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So he told me about that afterwards.
So we had steak for lunch.
Wow.
Yeah, no. And then, I mean, we just kind of stayed in bed, and Brooklyn just wanted to see her little sister.
I got to cut the cord again, which was fun.
Yeah. He got to cut the cord. And I had even made instead of using a cord clamp, I like braided like little cord ties, one for a girl and one for a boy, like just different colors that I liked. And so it was fun to get to use like the little tie that I made for the umbilical cord. I didn't think to do that with Brooklyn. I didn't know it was something that you could do. I just kind of thought, and I thought, that's a good idea. So it was fun to get to use that.
Very nice.
So yeah, I mean, that's the long version. The short version is Amy Jo woke up at 6 a.m. and got her worship on and woke me up at 6:45 and caught a baby at 7:27. So that's about as supernatural and quick, and as far as I could tell, she had no pain and no.
That was
and
awesome.
So it was awesome.
Yeah, I wrote I would have 100 babies if every birth could be like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess apparently she did get mad at me when she told me the water broke.
Oh,
and I asked her.
He said, "Did it happen naturally?" And I'm like, "How else would it have happened?"
So that was the only. I think that was the only.
That was
moment
the only
of tension of. Oh, okay. I guess that was a dumb question.
Sorry.
I'm a dad and a doctor, right?
Yeah.
As goes by the shirt.
You're supposed to know.
Well, he said PhD in catching babies, not the water. So,
Exactly.
Hey, I don't think
he stays in his lane.
There are no dumb questions when it comes to having babies. I've asked a lot of questions over the years.
That's
fair. There are no dumb questions.
That's not my dumbest. That's the problem.
Which end does the baby come out of?
Well, I agree with your midwife when she said, y'all are crazy. And I would add awesome to that statement. I think you both are crazy awesome. And I'm so excited to have you back on the show and just for you to share part of your lives with us. And you've had so many laughs. I really appreciate it. I highly encourage anyone, if you've gotten to the end of this episode and didn't go back and listen to the first one, go do that. And then just have it be a Team Mann kind of day here on the podcast. And any final thoughts or suggestions or encouragement that you would offer parents?
I mean, we, especially, here in Germany, like we said, not a lot of people are for it, if you will. But once we tell a story like, I could never do that, And it's just like, it's just a mindset. If you don't think you can, then yeah, you definitely can't. But if you learn about it and, educate yourself and fill yourself with positive stories and
believe in your body and have a supportive team.
Yeah, find a community of people who have done it and who support it, and then heck yeah, you can do it. And so some people might be completely different or unheard of, but educate yourself, and it happens. It's a thing, and it's a beautiful thing. And if you decide that you don't want to do it, not a problem. But at least look into it, and don't just immediately say no,
or that you couldn't,
or that you can't. To say, oh, I can never do that, is not fair to yourself, because you absolutely can. And so,
and I would say birth can be fun. I know, like, even for me at our first birth, like, and even with the second, like, there's still part of you that gets a little bit anxious or scared or whatever it may be that may come up. But gosh, it can be so much fun, and it was so fun. So, yeah, that's my piece of advice. You don't have to fear birth; it really can be a fun, joyful experience.
That's beautiful.
It sure can.
Thank you both so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys for doing what you do. It's awesome, and it helps a lot.
Quick note about the Doing It at Home podcast. Matthew and I are not doctors or medical professionals, and nothing we say should be taken as medical advice or opinion. If you have medical or health-related questions, please take them to a trained professional. We're here simply to entertain you with stories and conversations about pregnancy, birth, and parenthood.